what's up everybody? It's Lids and we're back for some more Mardek, and of course last time we took out the Fire Guardian, took the Fire Crystal, and taught those world saviors a lesson or two about trying to take advantage of us after fighting a big boss fight, so it's all ours now. However, next on our list is likely the Earth Crystal, and we heard that that is in Lifewood. However, there's no way to get into the temple when we only have half a key, so we'll head over in that direction next. But there's actually one thing that I think we'll want to do there first. That being, that if you remember, we did see, when we tried going there before, that there was, of course, the monastery that Vern was trying to get into. It was just that we weren't necessarily able to do that because the monastery was locked, had some kind of password, and we didn't know what said password was. However, if you remember when we went there before, Rohoff was saying that it seemed likely that perhaps someone in our party might know the answer as to what exactly that password might be. It wasn't Vern, but now we have, of course, picked up a new party member since having done that. So, might said party member, namely Legion, know how to get in? Let's check it out.
This door is sealed magically, and it seems to be the only way to get inside. It's a potent sort of divine magic, which usually has specific requirements to bypass, like a password.
Darn it! How are we going to get in then?
I have no idea. I can see no other way than by finding the password, somehow. Though I find it very unlikely.
Perhaps one of our dear allies knows something about this obscure ruin.
Or maybe, on our adventures, we'll meet someone who does.
Whoa! I am home! The pixies! The haven from those blasted pixies! Huh?
It would seem that our maddest of minds has strong feelings about this place. Perhaps he
does know something about this place. Okay, perhaps. Good, then speak up. I know the password! This was once my home. My lovely home.
Yeah, Lord loved me. I loved him.
We loved each other. Ah! But then, oh yeah, Lord. A stone. A lovely rock. A stone. It fell from the sky and was Ya Lord's gift to us.
He loved us. I loved him.
We were in a relationship. Oh no. He was a big dragon and invisible anyway. Ah! But pixies! Ah! Yeah, the legend says the stone fell from the sky and drove them all mad somehow. Or, I mean, Yalort made them all go mad because of the idolatry, which is an atrocity. I see that our robot friend here shows just how mad they got.
A stone that fell from the heavens and meddled with the minds of the mortals? This seems too familiar.
Yeah, I think we were commenting on this the first time that we heard about this stone falling from the sky and landing in the monastery and driving people insane. And that seemed pretty darn similar to what happened with the Governance to Magi and Rohoff's friends. Anyway, we really need to get in. So, what's the password, robot? What? Who are you? I won't tell you.
My friends, I don't want to go inside.
I won't tell you that it's baked fish. I won't tell you. And someone of faith needs to say it. My faith. I cannot have faith in a god who does what he did. Well, we do have at least one person of faith in our group. Faith, eh? I've tons of that. Here, let's see if that password that slipped out of your lips there, or whatever that is that you talk with, you know what I mean, has any effect. Hey Tor, would you like some baked fish?
Bravo, that seems to have done the trick.
Great, now let's go and get this stone.
It is worrying to have this broken mind amongst our own in this metal shell. I've wondered what had driven it to such a state, but if it was that stone, then I cannot recommend going in to get it.
Yeah, you know, Legion does make a good point here, that if the other component of Legion is as bonkers as it is, and that does certainly seem to be the case, then maybe that's something we don't want to have happen to us by, say, doing precisely the thing that drove that part of Legion completely insane. But, you know, to each their own. Oh well, we'll only have it for a short while anyway. I don't want to keep it. We'll give it to the High Priest, and then we won't have to worry about it anymore. Ha! That's what you think. The naivete of do-gooders always makes me laugh. What? What are you trying to say?
I think he means that it's likely that something terrible will come of what you're doing. Trust the religious ones to mess up the world more than it already is.
My High Priest is a noble man, good enough in the eyes of Yellowt to be chosen for such a lofty position in our order. I won't have you speak ill of him, even implicitly. And anyway, Yellowt contacted him in a dream and asked him to get this stone. It's safe.
If that is what you want to believe, then so be it. Let's just get this over with.
Yes. Then we'll see that I was right and nothing bad will happen. Well, we'll see about that. However, one other thing to bear in mind is we've been going a little while here with Legion, Vern, and Gloria a little bit less so, but there's definitely some people who could perhaps use some more time in the spotlight. So let's switch out some party members here, and what I'm thinking is, if we look at what level people are, well, that's perhaps a pretty good indicator of who ought to be in the party next, because people like Meridor and Donovan have not had a lot of time, at least not recently, with us, and so they are, for that reason, quite low level, so I'd like to get them in. And the thing is, well, of course, Legion and Vern did help us get into said temple, and it is Vern's quest, but at the same time, do we really need them? So, at least for now, maybe we throw in 1 Mr. Meridor and 2 Mr. Donovan. As for who we have in for the third person, maybe Elwian. Been a little while since we had you as well. That way we're getting what I believe are our 3 lowest level characters right now. I think Zach is actually tied with Elwian. Yeah, at level 22. But that way we can get them leveled up a little bit more and have everyone roughly equal so that we can just pick whichever person feels most suiting for the situation, not to worry about, well, you see, Solar is 5 levels higher than anyone else, and therefore we should use Solar because it would be most optimized. So, let's just take a quick look at their inventory, because my guess is they probably don't have much in the way of equipment here. At least for Donovan, that is certainly the case. The other thing is, I believe that we picked up a new weapon from the Fire Guardian, and we might need to double check as to whose inventory we ended up putting that in. But that is something we should check out. So let's maybe go to item storage next and see who nabbed it. And the answer appears to be Vern here, the Fire Fang, which is a spear, a fire elemental spear, tipped with a fang of the Fire Guardian from the Fire Temple, awarded for defeating that Guardian. So it's 36 base attack, which I'm guessing is probably fairly high for Donovan. In fact, why don't we do this here and see, yeah, 32 base attack on his current spear, so that's a pretty sizable upgrade. Not to mention, some new skills. He did get the ability to learn Nullifier once from one of the items that we've already seen. However, this is another source of that, so another way to master it. Also, plus 20% offensive reaction is not a bad thing. And empowers fire, well, I mean, we know that doesn't really do anything. Actually, 5% chance to inflict numb, regardless of any skills you put on. That's low, yes, but perhaps just often enough to be, on occasion, a difference maker. 50% fire resistance from a weapon, though. That's pretty nice. And plus 2 spirit will help him out with spell casting. Let's throw that on. I think across the board sounds like a strong upgrade. However, he does still have every other item slot that we should be looking to fill in here. So let's, again, go back to item storage, perhaps, and find what else we can put on. And I don't recall as to whether he's had a chance with the Night Jacket, but that might be an interesting thing for him to do here. Let's see. You mastered Resist Dark? You've not. And that is a strong enough skill that I think, generally speaking, we want to get that on as many people as possible, so we could go that route for sure. Other than that, helmets, accessories. Let's see, do we have a spare skull helm, or is there something else we should put on instead? I'm pretty sure you have mastered these skills from the Black Hat, because you were one of, if not the first user of said hat. However, we have also picked up the scoping lens somewhat recently. This was, of course, Meridor's starting helmet. And you've not mastered the plus 10% magic damage reaction, which could be very useful for you. So let's go that route for you there. And then for the accessories, what comes next? Not sure you're going to have any RP available for something like double AP here, so probably hold off on that. However, the Dragonblood Charm here does give a strength boost ability that is an active skill for specifically Donovan. So let's perhaps make a point of putting that on, so you can master that. Even if the fire resistance, I'm not sure how relevant that's going to be here, or resist numbness. Other than that, last item spot here, don't know if we're necessarily anticipating that we will take one specific type of elemental damage here, so don't think a pendant is going to be terribly useful. But the Eclipse Amulet is basically always good. Not sure if Donovan has had the chance to work on the evasion ability. He is not. Okay, that's a defensive reaction that is useful to have, so this looks pretty strong for him. Then next on our list would likely be Elian. See what you have here. And this is the Inventing Coat from Meridor as well. You have not yet mastered this defensive reaction. You have a ton of those, so I'm not actually sure you're going to have the RP to use this right now, so tempting as that may be to master this, this might not be reason enough to throw this on. There might be better alternatives because, like we were saying, with things like the Night Jacket, getting Resist Dark is good, but we do of course have things like the Geo Jacket as well for Resist Earth. And if we're going to be heading into the Earth Temple soon, then that might be worth throwing on Elwian. Let's check this out. Yeah, you've not yet mastered that. That could be worthwhile, and I think you were actually, working on Resist Ether, which is similar in nature. Of course, it's just 50% resistance to the Ether element versus the Earth element. However, I think that, generally speaking, Earth is likely to be much more common. So let's prioritize that, and perhaps we could leave this on. And once you do master Resist Earth, we could swap you over. We could go that route. And you've not yet mastered +1 Vitality, so we can leave this on too. Then lastly, that leaves us with Meridor. And we're using the Gasomatic down in the Water Temple because it gave Earth Elemental attacks, and that was effective against water. Let's switch back to the Flamethrower though, because I think generally speaking, that is likely to be more powerful. It's just that when we were in the Fire Temple, that didn't make a lot of sense. As for other things that you have here, you've not yet mastered this reaction. This reaction, you have mastered +20% MP, so maybe we swap this out. You have mastered +20% HP, so we can probably leave that out as well. But what is your second accessory slot? What if we say we're to throw on something like the Bone Stone for Vim? And remember, this is the zombification immunity, in addition to a passive 100% resistance to becoming a zombie, and a little bit of defense and magic defense as well. So, now that we have the team reassembled, let's make a point of making sure that we have our skills allocated. Mardek, you should be pretty much fine here because, well, we haven't switched anything on you recently. But Donovan, what can we do with you? We could throw on Suppleness. Again, not sure it's necessarily most relevant right now. Fire Temple was perhaps the most relevant place for that, but since you have the item on that allows you to learn it, why not? But Resist Dark, that's the big one. We do still have enough RP to make that happen, so yes, let's definitely do that. And then Meridor, you can keep on +20% XP, you're somewhat close to mastering that, okay? And then, other than that, you're done with +20% NP, so we could throw on Vim. We actually do have a pretty reasonable amount of RP remaining here, so we could throw something else on as well. And that could be Insomnia, Clarity. Let's throw on Clarity. Other than that, not much else there. Donovan, did we check your other reactions? Ooh. Offensive, physical, definitely several options here. We could throw on +20% damage for sure. +50% accuracy if we were to take off poison. We could do that. Not necessarily sure that's the right answer long term, but at least for the sake of mastering this, why not? And here's the +20% evasion, and you did have plenty of RP. Physical defensive reaction, so sure. There's the offensive magic reaction, definitely want to have that. And you have one more RP here. Can we get creative and say, get rid of -30% damage and apply it to a specific element? not sure that's necessarily going to be a great idea here. We might just hold out there. Okay. And lastly, Elian. And for you, we were saying probably shift gears from resist Ether to resist Earth. And then you could throw on plus 10% HP just because you have the RP. Other than that, this is what I was saying before. You definitely have a lot of things we'd like to master, but as you can see here, there are so many skills, it's hard to master them all. So we might need to make a point of having Elwian take some time to master these up, because we cannot yet do both Survivor and Resist Earth simultaneously. So I think we're just gonna have to leave this as is for right now. And then you actually do need to do some physical attacks yourself to master this ability here. Not that that's going to happen too often, but it'd be nice to have it mastered so that we don't need to be concerned about switching weapons and then no longer having access to this at all. Okay, and likewise, I think it's been a little while since we last checked in with some of these people. So let's see what they have to say. Brohoff, do you have any specific updates right now?
I like the feeling of this place. It's pleasant, full of vitality. I feel a century old again.
Okay, I do remember you saying that, so that's a general update based on the fact that we're in Lifewood right now. As for others, though, Donovan?
I feel younger in this forest. I almost remember what it was like to not have a little beard.
Okay, I suppose that's also based on being in Lifewood. Meridor? Ah, okay, Meridor-specific music. That would suggest that this is a Meridor-specific update.
Hey, I was just thinking about how you were when you were but a child, Mardek. So long ago, yet it feels like just 2 or 3 years ago.
Amazing, almost as if the previous game came out 2 or 3 years ago. Or however long it's been since the last chapter was released. Meridor knows.
You have been a good friend to me all these years. You and Dugan were my only friends, in many ways, for many years. I thank you for keeping up with my madness, though I miss Dugan almost as much as you do.
On one hand, I feel like, yeah, that's a tough sell. They were pretty close, Dugan and Mardek. Yeah, well,
I do miss him quite a lot.
Not to undermine your relationship with Dugan at all, just that, I mean, Mardek and Dugan were 2 peas in a pod, right?
I know you do. I wish he could be with us now. But it is best not to dwell, or now is not the time, at any rate. As I was saying, I used to be respected by the other villagers back in the beginning. I was encouraged by my parents and the other villagers to continue inventing. They were eager to see how I could help Gosler with my science. But then, the accident. That horrible, fateful day. My invention. It went so wrong. And my parents, they didn't make it. I killed them with my science. I've never got over that.
Okay, so we did of course hear that Meridor is a pacifist. Perhaps that's the reason why?
The others, they hated me. They shunned me. They thought that I would kill them too, with my inventions. I was ostracized. Nobody would be my friend anymore, except you, 2 kind young boys. Hey, everyone used to talk about the weird, evil madman who lived on the edge of town. We thought you'd be some mad old scientist with a gray beard and white lab coat, making monsters or something.
Yeah, Mardek, I'm not sure you're helping, just reinforcing that stereotype like that.
But me and Dugan thought you were just lonely, not evil, and we thought it'd be an adventure to try to see what you looked like, and whether you were as mad as people said. And yeah,
still not sure you're helping.
And am I quite as mad as that? Well, maybe?
Mardek!
I suppose I am a bit, eh? Ever since that incident, I've vowed never to take another life again. Except I considered taking my own, actually. Everyone hated me. I killed my parents. Well, why not?
It seemed a logical thing to do. No, Meridor, you are a good guy. I never had properly thanked you for saving me from all of that, Mardek. You were always too young. But now look at you, a noble knight, fighting for what is right. I am glad to have known you. I truly am. Yay! And on that note, we have more adventuring to do. Alright. Yeah, some more interesting insights on Meridor's past. We really didn't know much of anything about Meridor before. Is there perhaps even more to learn about him? I wonder if it is possible to sort the energy from this forest for use later. It would take quite an invention to harness or capture it. I should design such a thing. Perhaps, if you could pull it off. That does, of course, sound like a Lifewood-specific update, though, and so that leaves us with Elwian. Oh? Elwian-specific music? Okay.
Hi, Mardek. Hey, Elwian. I've always wondered how you pronounce your name.
You know, it's not like we've been talking to you for a very long time now, and may or may not have been pronouncing it correctly.
Like you always do? Like, just then?
Well, how is that? Mardek with a smile as well.
You know, L-O-E-N? Simple. Jeez.
Oh, Elwian. Okay, first of all, no, we absolutely have not been pronouncing it that way, because that is definitely an extra syllable that we've not been including. Where's the O in her name? Do you see an O in here? And also, aggressive? I mean, at the same time, yes, we probably should have been making a point of saying your name correctly. As I was saying, back when we first met her, I believe, in Chapter 2, there was a long debate as to what exactly the correct way of pronouncing her name was, so I was a little bit self-aware, and that, yes, it is likely that nobody has been saying her name correctly.
Oh, thanks. I've been pronouncing it as Elwian all this time.
He knows, see?
No, you haven't, Mardek, you big dope. You've been saying it Elowian, like it's supposed to be. If you're trying to play some kind of weird mind game with me, well, your mind game sucks.
So harsh.
I know a better game we could play, though.
Oh, is it jump over the rather large toadstool repeatedly for hours? I used to play that a lot when I was little. Oh, Mardek.
No, Mardek, it's not. That sounds stupid.
Yeah, where's this coming from? Elwian. What have you done with Elwian? I missed her already.
It's called Twister, and I'm sure playing it will make us feel rather close, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so I'll be honest. Twister is an old enough game that I'm not sure if I need to explain what it is.
Back in my day, Twister was a very common game.
So, I would assume if you guys are not familiar with what Twister is, then you could probably Google it. Do people actually still know what Twister is? Or not? I honestly am not sure. But anyways.
Well, I don't. Because isn't Twister a spell from Gloria?
It is. In fact, it is Gloria's air elemental spell. That's true.
Ah, Mardek. You can be so irritating sometimes, you know that? So let me just hold your hand and we can be on our way again without talking anymore. Yay!
Yeah. Interesting. Seems like, yes, we did of course learn the correct pronunciation for L-O-Wian's name, but also kind of like a totally different side to her that we had not yet seen before. Previously seemed as though she was just this innocent little child that we saw on the side of Lake Quirr who we were trying to help when her parents turned into icicle statue things. Now, however, seemingly much more critical of Mardek at least. When previously it seemed as though he could do no wrong in her eyes. Is there more, though, that L-O-Wian might have to say?
Hey, Mardek. I'm really glad you brought me along with you, you know? I know all our other friends say that too, like the suck-ups they are, but I really mean it. I really do. I really have been dreaming about this for, like, years now. Ever since we met. When you walked into my life and tried your best to save my parents. Well, nobody's ever really done that for me before. You were so brave. So noble. Even though I lost my parents, I was so glad to have met you. A truly nice person in the world. There aren't enough people like you, Mardek. Or Sir Mardek, as you should rightly be called since you so deserve it. You were so much nicer than that Dugan guy you were with. He was such a jerk. Adventuring is unsafe for little girlies. He talked as if I were some innocent, stupid little baby. Well, he can kiss my arse. That's what I say.
Whoa, where is this coming from? Hello, Ian?
You can too, Mardek, but in a different way, if you know what I very subtly and suggestively mean by that.
Yeah, you're really starting to concern me.
Well, Dugan was my best friend.
Yeah, how could you speak ill of him like that? That's not cool.
Oh, I know, Mardek, but you've got to get over him. He's gone now. Accept it. I don't like to see you sad. He wouldn't want you to be sad now, would he? Though knowing what a sullen jerk he seemed to be, I wouldn't be surprised if he would. You've got friends like me now, Mardek. You don't need him anymore. I can be a better friend anyway. I actually care about you. And I can show you a sort of appreciation and fun that he never could. Wink, wink.
Unless he ever did? You! Mardek, I shouldn't have thought of that. It is pretty hot, though, now that I think about it another way. Yeah, that's none of your business, Eloian.
Never mind, Mardek. I think I'm done talking now. Let's go, Sir Knight.
Yeah. Even more concerning. Harsh, manipulative, critical of even Mardek's best friend, someone who's passed, Dugan. Do you have more to say above and beyond that? Because if so, you are digging yourself even further into a hole, Eloian.
I feel risky, Mardek. I so want you right now, and I'm not even trying to be subtle or anything this time. It must be this forest, full of energy, and I feel so alive. How about we find a nice little glade somewhere, and take advantage of the situation, eh? Like rabbits? Come on! This doesn't happen every day. You'll love it.
We've heard that one before, so that is her general Lifewood update. And let's head into this monastery now and see what it's all about. And if we take a look here, I'm pretty sure I just saw some bones on the ground, which is perhaps a little bit concerning. Some vines growing on those ruins, that's understandable, but oh, our first battle against fallen cultlings is perhaps a little bit concerning. You know, if these were Legion's friends, then does that mean that Legion is now at least 1/4 a fallen cultling themselves? Because that's, yeah, you know, maybe not a great thing. If we take a look at them, we'll see that they are somewhat weak to fire, very weak to light, a little bit resistant to water and air, fairly resistant to earth, and of course heal a lot to dark. What does that mean? They are undead, and it's been a long time since we fought any undead enemies with Eloian. In fact, I'm not sure if we ever have. So, although we have mastered Requiem, have we gotten the chance to see how it works? Well, now's as good a time as any. Donovan, you do have the new Blaze ability, which is Flame's older brother. He rides a large motorbike and does things with girls that Flame is too young to understand. Oh, okay. Basically what that means is that Blaze is essentially a more powerful version of the same skill. Not powerful enough, though, to take everyone out here. But we do have Meridor with a flamethrower, and we did, of course, see that these guys are weak to fire, so Donovan was dealing some extra damage. Meridor should as well. And flamethrower, of course, can hit everyone simultaneously, meaning that Meridor can take everyone out here. Not bad. Okay. As for this chest, it is a Yelortian amulet, which I believe we got back in Chapter 2 from clearing out the sewers. We do have one of these, yes, but sure, not a bad thing to get a couple of them. And, what with this being a Yelortian monastery, that makes some sense. These bookshelves don't have any books in them, so be warned, that always means evil is afoot. There is even a chest hiding back here. This one has a Yelortian robe. So we did see that the enemies that we just fought had these, and we did see that there was a merchant just outside the monastery in Aeropolis that was selling these. It was fairly expensive at that. And this is the only item that allows robe users to learn the purity skill. So as you see it here, this is the one that gives us curse immunity, which is helpful, yes, especially when we were talking about when we were fighting the world saviors, wanting to have a way to do that so that Bernard would not be able to curse absolutely everyone. However, all of our other sources of purity were on heavy and medium armors, and that meant that people like Mardek could equip them, yes, but the Donovans, Meridors, and Elwians of the world could not. So that would potentially be reason to throw this on one of these people here. I'm looking at Meridor's Chestplate is probably the weakest of the ones that we have equipped at the moment. However, he's not yet mastered this ability, so we could probably keep it on for the time being. Depends how many magic abilities are actually hitting Meridor. If we're taking people out before they get the chance to take turns, then might make sense to put on a passive skill like Purity from this instead. But we can play that by ear a little bit. Let's head on out, though, and see what else we find up here. Oh, that looks like a switch. And a Phoenix down. Oh, Mardek has a bunch, but no one else has any. That's a little bit concerning. A green switch, which is perhaps fitting for a monastery for the green Omni Dragon. Okay, Chaos Souls. We've not yet seen these guys. They are quite colorful. Resistant to absolutely every status. However, not a lot of elemental resistances. Mostly just weak to Fig, and will not take any damage from physical attacks. And ginormous physical defense, but it should mean that just about any spell of any sort of element could deal its fair share of damage. They are, I'm assuming, spirits as well, not undead, and therefore Requiem will not deal extra damage. We could do Dolorous Dirge, though, because that deals damage regardless of resistances. And I believe Blaze should work here, based on what we saw before. Will that be enough damage to take them all out? Not quite. One has a chance to go, but Dolorous Surge finishes it off. Okay. And then there is one route up here. It looks like there's still one chest remaining, though, and an area to the top right that we've not yet explored, so let's try that. Another switch. Good stuff. And, oh, this is actually a chest. Devious. Bitter Leaf. Okay, not sure this is terribly valuable, but we'll pick it up nonetheless. And then we'll head through this middle route here. See where this leads us. And into a battle is apparently the answer. Rot Rats. I believe we saw some of these guys back in Saul's dungeon. And I believe they did cause zombification, or at least had the chance to. They are, yes, technically undead, so therefore we could use something like Requiem. So we throw that on. It deals, actually, 640 damage, so it's very similar to Dolorous Dirge. It's just that it only works against undead enemies, and when it does, it's more powerful. So it's like a more niche type of Dolorous Dirge, which, in an area with a lot of undead enemies, seems like it could be very useful. Okay, and this door seems to be leading us up to another floor of the monastery. But I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here. We got the chance to break into this monastery, finally, and learn a little bit more, perhaps some concerning things about our friends, but next time round, we'll see what else we can find here. Will we be able to uncover that stone? Will it drive us completely mad? Only time will tell.